Renegade, you're up. The renegade when afraid. Keep it real and honest. Man in the wilderness. We're not just. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Up. Wagwan. Everything up? Alright, so hear this now. I play Neville Martin. I play 3 songs with Neville Martin. But we'll do some facts check on them things. They will look deep down why Neville Martin do the tune, them 3 tune, yeah. Come I play 3 at Neville Martin tune, you know, where him do, you know, with the same one we just play, where you hear them I play there. Him have 2 other one there, you know, where I play. I remind the people them why them do them tune, yeah. And why some other artists do some tune. As me I tell you before, when Michael Manley come on, he might change up the thing and I say, no, socialism have to be built, and them I say, yeah, them little people here, step on them. We are going to change up this and tackle them with the backside and force buy and get 51% and take over the backside company and say, hey, free education and free health and this, and them come in with everything we can think of. Bastard and servant act. No more bastard than they again, you know. Equal pay for equal, you know, for woman too and everything, for what you do. You know, equal pay, and him start change up something. It start ruffle them feathers. So remember them, they have a 5 flight a week thing where, you know, Siago did come and say, nah, Marxism was lie. Then the time there, if you ask anybody back in those days, they may tell you, say, when Mike and we don't, so he makes help spread them thing, they don't in a film place too. After election, them tell some people say it never right, you know. Communists are come to over and Marxists. I play and make on hear Siago himself I say it. And then I play Mandela. Because Mandela, when them talking, you want come on, run some documentary, you know, with like Mandela when them talk. But them ask him a question. I mean, I run that documentary, you know, but I run something where Mandela talk up for the people, them, and why him stand up for equal rights and justice, you know. Yeah. Yeah, me have it, man. I have it, man. Yeah, man. Me have that too, man. Yeah. I help minister that too. Because them I say them I get, me see, the other one I say I get back somebody there because them I get contractor for do this. And, you know, sometimes traffic. If him I use sometimes traffic, you say, Damian. So if you know, people I get them breakfast that me get up from 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock I look about breakfast. Me shouldn't look about breakfast at your yard, me not just a yard. Because sometimes you can look about breakfast so I give people. And the breakfast where you look about give them, you bathe in a pail and then you use the water to cook the breakfast. Me not trust that. Me not want them food to feed. Yeah? All right, talk play. So let me just go to this. Let me go to Sir Michael. And here where I say yes and just go through. And then I play the tune them. And I show you why them do the tune them. I remember, you know. Think that the tune too, you know, say I am on Banya. Yeah? I am and I now leave if I go America no we a sapata boy. One more Jamaican gone abroad because them they move. That's why. Because them stand firm with Sir Manley. You understand? The movement was right. Still right. Watch ya. Watch this.
I won't. I think that one has to distinguish 2 clear things. Firstly, the city of Kingston, like many cities with problems of unemployment and poverty, has always had a tendency to violence of the kind that you would find certainly in many North American cities, set and off balance and that sort of thing. And definitely, therefore, there is a political element has crept into the situation.
Well, why would the opposition party, I presume you're referring to the opposition party, there are only 2 parties running.
Yes.
And why would they go to tactics of that nature? Don't you think it would harm them more than do them any good?
Well, I think that the whole thing, you see, has been, I think, rather cleverly managed, in that our political tradition has always involved, again, a very marginal element of violence, although it used to be in the old days just fist fights.
You're the man honest in himself. You might tell us, say, you know, in the old days, just fist fight and thing, and just hear him attack honest himself. And not come like Kanji with us tell be a lie and then promise and then go on us and blame this and that. Just listen to him attack honest himself. Can take on the big powers, you know. Yeah, man. And that just in my nature. I like take on the big powers too. Just hear ya.
Occasional brick and things of that sort. And recently what has happened, as I say, is to introduce into this tendency a certain element that I think is borrowed from the underworld. And I think this has been done by certain elements quite deliberately to cause a certain panic in the society, to give the impression that the government's not really in control. And of course, sometimes, as happens when the violence starts on one side, you get reaction from the other side. So in the end, you get a confused situation in which they...
Yeah, man, this again. Him said them are get certain elements, just want a thing about when the violence starts from one side, they get the reaction because people can defend themselves. And then it starts the confusion. But them want to do it. You hear him tell about how them destabilize up the thing. Just go and listen.
The average citizen may think, well, it just seems to be both of them at each other. So that one gets a cloak under which really to work the plan.
In driving around Kingston, we noticed a lot of signs saying Castro go home or CIA go home. There seems to be a Cuban-American involvement in this. Now, how much influence do these countries have on this political scene at this time?
They don't, neither country has any general influence in the Jamaican political scene. What has happened is that because the Jamaican government has had a policy of friendly relations with Cuba, very like the Canadian government, who have always had a tradition of friendly relations with Cuba. We have been charged by the more right-wing extremist elements of our opposition with all sorts of propaganda in what has really been an orchestrated communist smear tactic.
You know what? On the right wing are the JLP snake tactic. Them come up with them look smear thing. Like what them are do right now. Them still do the same thing. It needs to stop. But we never ever tell them stop with us. Fling out the facts on them, Yeah, identify them.
Very unfair. We are not communists. We are very much a sort of social democrat group, democratic socialist group. And these smear tactics have been worked, which accounts for the Castro go home kind of slogan. And then, of course, there has been a certain tension in certain elements in the United States of America about our relations with Cuba, as indeed there is tension in America towards Canada's attitude towards Cuba, as you know, is not approved of by the State Department. And so somehow all this has got escalated into a series of charges and countercharges.
Well, is there some financial involvement, say, from the Cubans to your government and from the Americans to the opposition?
No. Well, I can't speak for the Americans with the opposition. There's no financial involvement between the Cubans and us, none whatsoever.
The Cubans are investing here, though. They're like building a school.
Well, that really was a gesture of solidarity. It's very much there's a new thing emerging in the Third World, where Third World countries often do things for each other on a cooperative basis in a manner that I think is quite new in world experience and very interesting.
People, this is great, Third world do things, experience, do things instead of we appear. Just hear where them come with at the time. Something where work and them come and stop. Just listen here.
We, for instance, are helping them up with no charge at all with some things that we think we are quite good at, like tourism. We send teams for no charge to help them organize their new tourist industry. And also we have been one of the countries here who has, I think, shown courage in standing up for Cuba's right to be accepted as a normal part of the...
So them help them with the tourism, no charge at all, and help them stand up for them too, for be, a normal part of the world too. You can't just black them out. I mean, I do the same thing. But and here what Cuba do now. Hear this.
Latin American family. And I think that they appreciate this, and as a gesture of solidarity, offered to build this school as a sort of reciprocal gesture, which of course became a subject of propaganda.
Yes, why would they be so touchy, though, for people to take pictures of a project like that?
Well, you see, because they've been, the fact that they're building this school has been the subject of a lot of unfavorable comment in the American press. Right-wing elements in Jamaica have been very nasty about it. And they, after all, have a very unfortunate experience with the CIA, as I'm sure you know. And They have had their own embassy. Yes, in recent times, for example, their embassy has been attacked twice here by extremist right-wing elements. And I think that this tends to make them very sensitive and therefore touchy, as you said, touchy about the situation and very careful. And, you know, with the state of emergency on, they would be particularly, I think, cautious at this time.
What about Canadian investment in Jamaica? I understand it's about $300 million. And with the swing toward socialism or perhaps eventual nationalization, what sort of situation are they in now? Is it a precarious thing for them, or?
No, we have very good relations with Canadian capital generally in Jamaica. We've found them to be good corporate citizens. The banks, by and large, cooperate with the government very well. We really haven't had any problems in that. And with one of your major investments, of course, which is the Alcan operation. Here, we, as you know, are in the middle of a major revision of our whole bauxite strategy, because this is our critical basic resource. It's the one really big thing we have going for us, apart from tourism. We have our people, we have bauxite, and we have tourism, and we have sugar. And our negotiations with the Alcan group to work out a new relationship between them and the Jamaica government are going very well. And I think are getting quite near to an amicable settlement.
Mm-hmm. One of the, I should have asked this along with the first part of the interview, but one of the reasons I got for the, if I may call it terror and unrest here, was the unemployment factor. And the fires and things that have been going on in a very poor area. Do you feel that perhaps it's because of these poor people and the unemployment rate that has...
No, absolutely not. Absolutely nothing to do with it at all. What that does is to create a tense situation. But the actual terrorism is manipulated. And it really is very easy to demonstrate this, because some of the problems that we have had have been small groups of gunmen who operate from quite expensive Toyota cars. Now, when you own a Toyota car, and the three of you work from that, I don't think you really are poor. But what...
Tell us a small group of gunmen operate from expensive Toyota cars, so you know where it come from at the time. So you see it's clear.
What the poverty does, as I say, is to create an atmosphere that can be exploited and manipulated by anybody who is ruthless. Where the unemployment is concerned, for example, with all the tremendous world inflationary pressures that have hit a little country like Jamaica so hard, and now with the economic recession that hit us so hard late last year and earlier this year, in spite of all that, we've actually reduced unemployment slightly. Not as much as we would have liked, but we have actually pulled it down a couple of percentage points.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel that these poor people then in Trenchtown and other areas are being used?
Oh yes, as far as this is concerned, there's no question that they're being used. Mm-hmm. No question at all.
In regard to terrorism on the island then?
Well, it's not really terrorism on the island.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. What about the tourist situation?
No.
Is it safe for tourists?
Absolutely safe.
You see it? Them that spread terrorism, I'm saying it's not terrorism. I know them are going with them foolishness. Yeah, man.
It is, although it's a very unpleasant situation, it is our good luck, in a sense, that all of this has been restricted to the urban ghetto area, an area where we are pushing massive housing developments right now within our very limited resources. We really are working very hard and building thousands of houses a year now for the poor. But
yeah, where my build people, thousands of houses. This are 76, you know. Thousands of houses for the poor. Thousands. So all them do them thing, him just continue doing work.
But
Yeah?
it's a huge backlog to overtake.
Yeah,
It can
there?
be overtaken in 3-5 years. It's a huge.
So the man, yeah, right. So man, they say, because the poor them never have no house to live. Remember, Wackland dog house people living there, you know. If you look on it, when you broke out a wall, come and repair enough of them house the back in the days. You have some posts, you know, where them that hold up the house, a Wackland dog, like the concrete went between it. And them have some little mesh thing and them that hold up that. So you have to move all them. When them rotten out, You lick the wall so you hear them rap out because of them they frame it and then them use them thing there. You know, pan it. You may repair enough for them house, enough for the house them where you see. You see me, I say, yeah, I tell the same I build 1,000 houses. And it's a huge undertaking. Because of that him do. Him go and work. When him say terrorism, him say no, not terrorism. This is what them do. But him just want to straighten the place. So that him do.
Task. But the violence itself and the manipulation of it is very much a phenomenon in the western part of Lower Kingston, where the bad concentration of poverty is.
The emergency powers, politically, will it help you or harm you?
Well, we haven't really thought of it in those terms because basically our objective in the state of emergency is to do with the state of the society, its confidence, and its economy. The violence was beginning to break the confidence of the Jamaican people in their own society and therefore having a very bad effect on the economy. And we are determined by the use of this admittedly extreme measure to create an atmosphere in which the Jamaican people begin to recover their self-confidence in their society and begin, therefore, to act in a dynamic and buoyant way in their economy. That's really what our objectives are.
Is it working?
We think it's working very well. We're very pleased with the results.
What are your chances in the next election?
We'll win.
Are you sure about that?
Well, let me put it this way, to say that you're sure always sounds arrogant. What I really feel is that, we have done a tremendous amount for the poor, for the people, in spite of the pressures. We've got a very powerful organization. We've got very solid mass support. We're very strong among small farmers and groups of that sort up in the hinterland, actually the part of Jamaica the tourist doesn't get to see. And we feel that the people understand us and we understand the people.
See me I talk about now. So me I continue. Let me just continue. Let me just move this. I mean I continue because I mean I tell you why I play the song them. The song 76, we go up the 76 election. The stand firm. We have the stand firm and we have 3 songs from him. 3. And listen to the word of the song them. Father Barnia. But before me give that, before me go into this, I hear Siaga. Alright, let me play the Siaga first. And then you hear, remember play that one there first. Listen this. And next interview.
A week ago tonight, the home of an American diplomat in Jamaica was bombed and sprayed with machine gun fire. The diplomat, First Secretary Richard Kinsman, had been identified in an American magazine as a purported CIA agent. The Prime Minister of Jamaica, Michael Manley, apologized profusely for the incident and promised a rigorous investigation. The American was not hurt, but the incident symbolized both the political tension between the U.S. and Jamaica and the island's increasingly violent politics. So far this year, more than 250 Jamaicans have met violent deaths, most of them thought to be political murders. Prime Minister Manley has announced elections for later this year, but is given only a slim chance of holding power. The island's economy is staggering under rising energy prices and other troubles attributed to Manley's socialist economic policies. The island is heavily in debt to North American banks. In 1978, it secured large credits from the International Monetary Fund to finance recovery. But talks to refinance that broke down in March. Edward Siaga, the opposition leader, claims that Manley is taking the island down the road to Marxism. That anxiety is alive in...
Yeah, who said, people? Edward Siaga said Mandela take the island down to Marxism. That propaganda thing there, and them continue. And from our just friend with Cuba. Marxism, you want to see it in Jamaica? Stupidness. But yeah,
Washington, as the administration surveys the increasing political turmoil in the Caribbean as a breeding ground for Cuban or Soviet mischief. Tonight, a close-up view of Jamaica's dilemma and Manley's struggle to be both independent and solvent through the eyes of a British reporter, Bernard Falk. His filmed report was broadcast by the BBC 2 weeks ago. It begins last March as Manley travels to Grenada, the former British colony which set up a Marxist government friendly to Cuba after a revolution a year ago.
In the uniform, Daniel Ortega, Sandinistan revolutionary from Nicaragua.
When them interview, revolutionary. But yet still these big countries have generals and everything. Them have nuclear. But yes, a little third world country, you can't talk for yourself and say, hey, we can't speak up. Don't do our brother that, because our brother, you can't do this to him. You can't do it. You must do it. You see it? All right.
In the tropical leisure suit, Michael Manley, Prime Minister of Jamaica. He's a self-appointed elder statesman of the Third World, and as such is warmly greeted by comrade Prime Minister Maurice Bishop, who seized power in Grenada a year ago.
That's what the man addressed to a simple man.
All these men head countries greatly influenced and inspired by Fidel Castro's Cuba. This gathering will cause great alarm in the United States of America, proving the spirit of revolution is growing. But the presence of Michael Manley, hobnobbing with Marxist friends, will be even more provocative. Many Americans would like to be rid of Manley in the belief he's turning Jamaica into another Cuba.
A comrade who has been consistent and principled in his anti-imperialist positions, in his support for poor, oppressed people fighting throughout the world. I want to introduce to you now, Comrade Prime Minister of Jamaica, Comrade Michael Manley.
Manley's blamed for caring more about Third World ideology than about paying the rent. As far as his opponents are concerned, there's little doubt that Jamaica's problems stem from his admiration of Cuba. Manley is a close friend of Dr. Fidel.
I remember, you know, when man did us take over, you know, so the place stay, them not have no place to live, you know. So they must pay the rent. Yesterday, I'm come with the housing trust and them thing to solve these problems. People never have nowhere to live. They never have nothing. You have to take back the thing, force buy and change up the thing. Give them back land and do all kind of things. Saying him see the needs, but him have fight for other third world country same time too. Yeah, man.
Castro. After his first visit to Cuba, he praised the spirit of unity among the people and their ideology. It mattered little to Manley that in America, such support of a communist state was like a declaration of war.
Mr. Manley's association with Fidel Castro may be one of the prime reasons that many bankers have turned down his request for the borrowing capacity for Jamaica, why their tourism is at a low ebb, why the economy is on the brink of disaster. These are the...
You hear them? This are them propaganda with them spreading on this and that and them up there now and I try to squeeze. You hear him?
prices
Yeah.
sometimes people have to pay for their association with the wrong people.
You hear what I'm saying? Where them have to pay, the association where them have to pay for associate with the wrong people. You associate with the wrong people. Them have force you who to talk to. Now listen Mandela to you know. Now listen Mandela to. Wow.
Today in Manley's Jamaica, the wrong people assert more influence than the United States, or anyone else for that matter. Ulysses Estrada, the Cuban ambassador, has the biggest diplomatic staff in the country. It's said he's a senior officer in the Cuban Secret Service and was trained by the KGB.
Yeah.
Here, he's visiting a school being built by a large Cuban workforce. It's part of a massive aid program which includes hospitals, clinics and nurseries.
So yeah, we are build people. This is 70s. This bug life for know all these things. Hospital, clinic, nursery, school. This is among the 70s. None of them things up me tell us a clinic. Me not have to talk it everything a documentary. It documented. So when you know that most of them to be build the most bull crap. The people them living as slumber. Man, they come up, that's why you see the NHT there, and it there shine like a beacon on the hill. And I do that the government a cut ribbon now. Go there, like cut ribbon. Them to be truthful. Not play politics with people, man. See, be a real leader. Yeah.
The money comes from Cuba. Cuba, in her turn, is subsidized by the Soviet Union.
Yeah, for them in.
There's no question in our mind, and
Yes.
we have been warning the country about this since 1975, and the country has now come more so to believe our view than the opposite view contended, that Manley's ultimate aim is to take Jamaica into the Cuban orbit and to transform the society into a Cuban-type society.
You say I'm wicked? You saw this, and remember it's American, this thing I talk to them, you know. You say I'm wicked? Him say, no, don't mind man that take the, in at Cuban, but do Cuba. And turn it at the same kind of society. These are them things that them spread, remember? And my word, it come from out of mouth. Dangerous. And this number and there. Dangerous. So I'm not stick to the country and ban at the time. Very dangerous. You hear what I'm saying? You hear the propaganda? Eh? But no, we have to listen, you know, because that's what Mandela said, you must be first in study. And when somebody I tell you, you know, and on my mouth, this will come out, you know. This is on my mouth, you know. This is straight propaganda, evil, you know. This is how I'm wicked. Yeah? Yeah, yeah.
They have, in fact, implemented many of the types of institutions that are necessary for the transformation.
What sort of thing?
Training programs.
Training programs.
We have, for instance, some 1,000 Jamaican youths that have now been trained in Cuba under a program that has come to be known as the Brigadista program.
Be a foolish to say, yes, some people, yes, them train them for do things. So, he might tell about Brigadista, like, remember, you have the government, you have the police force, you have the army. We are training up the youth. What kind of Brigadista? What them are training for God do? Because he want build something with Soviet Union and say, them build out one where them take over the place. Be a crap. Be a crap. Hear this.
Because the purpose of the program is to set up Marxist-Leninist brigades.
That was lie. Marxist-Leninist brigade. So matter about Russia and this and that, and this is what them are set up. So you hear what the propaganda, the root of the propaganda, this, blind ago. The root! And them continue to blame and send it all now. This year. Think him did good for Jamaica? No. If him did good, you wouldn't have a Tivoli state, so you'd have a Tivoli with doctor, professor, nurses, teacher. You wouldn't have gun and fire down there. Tell me, I tell you that. You understand? That's why I don't listen to them. I don't listen to them. Clear.
To return to Jamaica, to indoctrinate the peasant people and the working class people.
So to indoctrinate the peasant and the working class people, indoctrinate. The whole of that was lie. So if me are the prime minister, and me set up such thing, me just hold him and put him in a lock him where make some people take him where and move the opposition and then me have a one party. Nothing that wasn't the truth. Right now, with them more to communism, the amount of communists from China in our country right now than when they matter about no Cuba. I know Cuban, all them do, the doctor them come work, and the nurses, all them do good for Jamaica. Eh? Always, in the pandemic, you see them run out, come do what them do. And you hear them call them, Marxists and everything. And man, they did not set up this, not never go so. Far from the truth. Nothing. Yeah.
Relationship with Cuba arises partly because Cuba is our closest neighbor, partly because Jamaica has always had a friendship that is traditional, really. With Cuba, it goes back into the 19th century. We find that we both share a deep commitment to the liberation process. We take a similar view of, we took a similar view of Nicaragua. We take a similar view of South Africa. We took a similar view of Ian Smith.
Do you take a similar view of America?
No, I don't think we take a similar view of America. I think they have, of course, a very unusual and painful experience.
Do you think that your support of Dr. Castro and a certain number of his causes, that having Cubans here, has helped to antagonize the United States towards Jamaica?
Well, first of all, I've never...
Antagonize the United States. Antagonize. So if me and your brethren, and no care you want to be what kind of power, me talk to you, to them not talk to you, no, me antagonize them. Me not do nothing, you know. If you talk to you, you can't come to my place. Me if you follow them and do what you do. See, Andrew just go follow with the aisle right now, we in a trouble. With Venezuela, you see me go do it. You see me go each up over in Israel. Can't deal with them puppet there, yeah? Continue.
Supported Dr. Castro and his causes. I have discovered points where we have similar causes. We share causes. I don't support his causes, nor he mine for that matter. But that the relationship has contributed to and been the cause of strain with the United States, of that there's no question. It's a matter of principle.
Why did you do it? I mean,
because it is a matter of principle. Because to me it is an absolute matter of principle, and it isn't negotiable, and it will never be, no matter what price is paid. It is not negotiable for me to believe that a small country has to determine its policy by reference to what some powerful neighbor feels.
Comrades, all I can say.
Lisa, that wouldn't be a question. Them having kids, them, of course. And they married more than one time, married a couple times. Having kids, them, man. Them not just enough up in our politics like this. The most man, them man are real man, you know.
The international community has been run by the big powers for hundreds of years, and where are we?
Where are we?
Where are we?
upsetting Jamaica's powerful neighbour seems to have been a Manley speciality. When he came to power in 1972, he moved into head-on conflict with the interests of American big business. Bauxite is big business. It's the raw material from which aluminium is made. It's only found in a handful of countries, and Jamaica has 2 billion tons of it. Before Manley came to power, the entire Jamaican bauxite industry was controlled by 6 North American companies. The country's greatest natural asset belonged to someone else. The Jamaicans received only a pittance in royalties, about $40 million a year. After they were elected, Manley's government began to negotiate with the bauxite companies, and after fierce resistance began to buy into the industry, mainly by compulsory purchase. 2 years later, Jamaica was paying for a 51% controlling interest, and her revenue from bauxite had gone up to $200 million a year.
That agreement creates a new and we believe historic partnership between the company and Jamaica.
He also formed the International Bauxite Association, a producers' cartel similar to OPEC in the oil industry. It was to ensure that poor countries got the maximum revenue from one of their few natural resources. But more significantly, it was the first time that Manley, using his socialist principles, went into action against American huge corporations and won.
Let's remember that wherever imperialism works, the people must unite to defeat it.
In the eyes of some Americans, Manley had also threatened the security of the United States. Aluminium is used to build warplanes and rockets, and control of bauxite now lies outside America. And then came even worse provocation, with Manley's announcement that in future Jamaica was to be a socialist state.
They came along with a lot of remarkable statements about their socialism and so on, and that they didn't want any wealthy people here and so on, and that they were going to...
All right, so this, them have some land owner, them have some, them have family that come from back now like 1700. We know it's a slave master them. Them I come from back then. So, you know, it's a long time them own and the world property, them and do them look of foolishness and the great who and them thing there. So when them come and talk, them want to get out, man. Them I show you, say them they want to get him out. I saw you, the PSOJ farm, you know. Them want to see the back of him. Watch.
Take over the commanding heights of the economy, and they frightened away every foreign investor that we had, and a lot of local investors at the same time.
Why were they frightened? In what way?
Because they were threatened. They were told that they were not the sort of people that were not wanted here, that Jamaica was going to be a socialist country, and that the capitalist was no longer welcome. America was called a wicked imperialist capitalist nation, an exploiter, and the whole...
You know, call a wicked exploitalist and exploiter. Imperialist and exploiter. Yeah? Yeah.
Ambience of the place was very frightening to any kind of investment.
The biggest deterioration in Jamaica's relations with the United States came in 1975, When Cuba sent in troops to help the Marxist MPLA in Angola, Manley made a speech lending Castro support.
And the freedom fighters of Africa and the forces of liberation in Africa, they know that even more important than the sum of money is the knowledge of the moral power of nations here in the Western Hemisphere standing behind them in their struggle on the continent of Africa.
Yeah.
It got Kissinger extraordinarily angry.
It did indeed. It did indeed. As we knew to our cost.
What was the cost?
The cost, well, I think that they all played their part. You know, all of a sudden, all aid dried up in that year, and, you know, we began to feel all sorts of pressures of the kind we were just discussing. You know, the destabilization technique really was quite masterly in '76.
In the closing days of the Ford administration, Kissinger...
The man I laugh, you know, the man, them did stabilization thing quite mastery. Because them do all kind of things to him, and I'm stand up there, man.
...had become almost manic about obliterating Manley, getting rid of Manley.
Yeah.
A year later, Jamaica held a general election, the most violent in the country's history. Manley's supporters shot it out with members of the JLP, the opposition party. It was murder and rioting on both sides. Manley won the election amidst claims and counterclaims that much of the violence was caused by an American plot to get rid of him, including help for his opponents by the CIA.
There is no question that there was a sustained and painfully effective destabilization process to which Jamaica was subject in the latter part of 1975 and increasingly in 1976.
Can you just give me some examples of that?
Yeah. For example, things like this would happen. It would be known that some famous syndicated columnist of the United States was going to come to spend a week resting in some villa. And mysteriously, the first night he's there, gunmen would arrive and start firing guns round and round his villa. Nobody would be hurt. By the next morning, he's in a state of terror. He flies home, and 79 newspapers across America read the story.
You hear that? They hear a state of terror. Like when you hear them say, hey, bombing now, you hear? Man, I got fire, but nobody now get hurt, and they hear that terror, and then them try weaken him up. Yeah? Hear this.
Of the violent, terrible society disintegrating with gunmen the next morning. So you get the next few thousand tourist cancellations. That's the simplest example I can give. That happened. Another technique, for instance, is if you have a predisposition, as in Jamaica, to ghetto gang warfare.
Ghetto gang.
It's very easy to penetrate the gangs with agents provocateurs and stimulate them to really create mayhem.
Are you saying the CIA was operating here?
Our impression is that the CIA had a hand in what happened in 1976.
In what way?
That was our information. Well, in the way, for instance, that they would have done in Chile. Nobody denies it in Chile. It's always denied in Jamaica.
Mr. Manley told me that he thought there was a deliberate policy of destabilization from the United States to get rid of him.
Well, I hope that makes better politics in Jamaica, that it makes sense with regard to the United States.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not true.
It's not true.
There's no doubt that elements of the United States system were involved in 1976. They deny it.
That's true.
And I hear their denial, and I have said often that I'm not satisfied with denial because all our information is that they were involved in 1976. I must say that since the Carter administration, there is no evidence of any overt hostility towards Jamaica. There's no evidence of that. There is great hostility among certain elements of their system. You'll find elements in their Congress that are hostile about Jamaica as this friend of Cuba and non-aligned country and third world business, you know, and all this happens. And certainly that has had a tremendous effect on investment. It has slowed down investment, and we paid high prices.
Manley believes the highest price he's had to pay is the collapse of the Jamaican economy. This is Kingston International Airport, and the conveyor belt transporting luggage looks like a mobile supermarket. Domestic goods unobtainable here are brought in by passengers from North America. Without foreign exchange, Jamaica is running out of the basic commodities.
All that in 76, but when we win an election, then it's stable up. Because when them do, them try, the same thing when them do in Venezuela. Them pull the belt. Them say Marxists, them do everything. You couldn't move the thing.
People need to live. What things are you short of here?
The basic commodities: rice, flour, cod, fish,
that time
oil,
them hold back that
bread.
thing before it come up back here.
No bread. No bread.
We run up, you know.
Is this a typical day?
Yes, it's a typical day.
Why can't you get the things?
Well, it's all due to the economic situation in the country. We haven't got any foreign exchange.
Since 1972, we have had 7 negative years of growth.
Lie,
the only country in the world.
Look here, this full of garbage. If you have 7 executive era growth, and you come in at the thing, and you, when you used to get 40 million, you get 200 million from bauxite alone, and then school and everything we have to build and everything we run. Him a chat shit. Him did a chat shit. Remember, you know, my crunch numbers. If you get 5 times the amount of money alone for bauxite, remember we have other things that export banana and all kind of things, you know. So when those as a negative, him full of shit. See, I got full of shit. Was lie. Because you crunch and you start get bauxite move from 40 million to 200 million per year. And farm it like OPEC. So I'm full of shit. Them help destabilize and it never work. So it come back to, but when it come back to the 1980 election, them start it again. Yeah?
There's no other country in the world that has that record.
This a garbage.
Since 1972,
our
reserves have plunged from $157 million to minus $600 million.
See there? Him say 176 million. But yesterday I make 200 million off of bauxite. 200 million off of bauxite alone per year. So when does 170, the reserve of 176 million, you make even more than way in the reserve per year off of bauxite alone. Wicked man. This be a garbage. And that garbage. Just listen what them attack say. Yeah,
we have a record in the world that no other country has.
Foolishness.
When a country goes broke, its people go broke with it. Unemployment is now around 30%, and factories are closing down daily.
All right, this is why them sing the song. This is why them just sing the song. You can hear why them sing the song now. Come and play the song. Hear this.
At this plastics factory, workers have been laid off, and half the remaining workforce sits idle, the machines covered up. Without foreign exchange, the company cannot import raw materials.
So when them got to the election at 76, when they draw the card, you know. See that?
The Bank of Jamaica is broke, £130 million in debt. On the walls of...
So you hear what them say? Him say 600 odd million, and them just say 130 million pound in debt. Yeah? All right.
Kingston, Manley's opponents know where to put the blame. IMF is Manley's fault.
IMF from Andy Farm.
Senior Albertelli, a banker with the International Monetary Fund, came to Jamaica to negotiate a small loan on top of the $1 billion the country already owes. He demanded an end to ambitious socialist programs the country couldn't afford. Manley and his party, widely blamed for gross economic mismanagement, refused to accept dramatic government spending cuts. Now the talks have broken down, Jamaica is all but bankrupt. The biggest loss Jamaica's suffered has been the drain of people, the desertion from their homes in the Kingston suburbs of the vital middle class.
So at the middle class, them where the land them have a cut up back here, them say vital middle class. This is what them say they want to the back.
Mainly living in America, their houses empty or rented out.
See ya? No, them me I tell you now, people at them farm the same place out there. Because them farm that in the 70s to try to do what them do. Yeah, man.
This is a banana plantation. It's owned by a family who've been in Jamaica since the 17th century.
Yeah, people, slave master this. Going off him out, 17th century. owned by them family.
Representatives of the old Jamaica of British colonial days. When Manley was returned to power in 1976, Maurice Cargill, like thousands of others, sold up and moved away.
Yeah, this I go to the 80th election now, this, yes, sir.
Significantly, it was not to Britain that he chose to emigrate. But like everyone else nowadays, he went to the United States.
Hear him now.
Now, for better or worse, he's decided to try again.
About 50,000 people a year have been leaving Jamaica since 1970.
What are they escaping from?
They're escaping from what they regard as a potentially communist situation.
Yeah. Who figure it out? Me tell us the big boys, them. A communist, himself 1970, but 1970 man, there wasn't a prime minister, it was you, Shearer. So some people that leave before, I know them blame Mandela and say boom bam. This I go to the 80th election. Yeah. Them farm this. So we know where them that go.
And they're escaping
because them want to keep the money. Him are one of the slave driver them, you know. Film people them, you know. Him. From the 16th century, 17th century, film people them are run, where them are run.
The shortages that have been occurring as a result of the spiraling down of our economy. So that people of all classes have been leaving Jamaica. Not only doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs, managers, and so on, but the vast majority of them have been artisans, craftsmen, the most productive people of this country.
After the political violence in the last election, the tourist trade collapsed. Americans are coming back now, but they don't want...
So the 76, them start come back. Can tell us them move that. So this I go up to the 80th election where you see this happen again. Right? So them, that's how you me born the PSOJ, enough of them in there, so. Them are garbage. You understand?
Far from the holiday hotels, the private beaches, and the pursuit of their own pastime.
No, and the poor people them leaving, artists them not leaving, the one them will say, them have this, and you must take the land, you must do this, you must do that, you must go to school with them. You understand? So them fees are them bigger, because them are still slave master, man, they change it.
Jamaica's got the reputation of being unsafe, particularly for Americans.
I've had Americans who've called me from the United States and said, should I come down here? I hear bad things about Jamaica. It's anti-American.
Fighting a rearguard action to improve relations between the two countries are members of the Jamaican America Friendly Society. They're waiting for the day Manley's removed and right...
You hear them here? See them here, people? Them are part of the PSOJ, but farm it. Hear this.
Now they're very active indeed. That's because Manley's announced there'll be a general election before the end of the year. These
people... the 80th election, them are talk about now, when you see this, I go on now, right? But them are tell you, say, Manley, them wait for see the back of Manley. That are them, you see from the PSOJ. Them, same one.
People and powerful politicians in America can hardly wait for him to lose it.
I feel that, as many others do, that Mr. Manley may have a tough time surviving the next election, if indeed there is an election.
Would it suit American interest?
You know, if indeed there is an election, like Mandela, I'll be a one communist state. You hear what I'm saying? I'll be a propaganda them continue spreading out that piece of crap, yeah. Front of me.
If he didn't survive the next election?
Well, based on his current reaction to the American government, I feel that it probably would be in the best interest if someone other than Mr. Manley...
You know, based on the current to the election, I feel somebody else than him. Them decided, and you can decide upon them leader. You hear this?
We're in a position...
You have to put in American for run it, or that them do. Put in a ban American for run it. Them. You hear that?
Govern the country of Jamaica.
American support is solidly behind Manley's opponent, Edward Seaga. On the streets of Kingston, they have their own way of spelling it. The railway line runs through a slum in the middle of Kingston. This is Manley's power base. Ironically, his supporters have suffered more than any from the collapse of Jamaica's economy. Once they had very little, now they've nothing at all.
Them never have nothing done the time, give them things. So, and all them when them report a lean, you know, still there, you know.
Yet they're fiercely loyal to the man regarded by the poor as a saviour.
What would you do for Michael Manley?
For Michael Manley? Yeah. I'd move the world for Michael Manley, for the people's man. Yeah. Him see the people, him see the struggle of the people. Go off fight the last man. Go off for the people all the while. Put up on people. Go off for the people all the way. We are not afraid.
But for all his popular acclaim, Manley's election chances are looking slim. That doesn't hurt the interests of his American critics, still trying to discredit him and suggesting that he
still trying to discredit him.
might move irrevocably to the left.
It's very possible that Jamaica may become a totalitarian state or attempt.
Yeah, there. You saw them wicked Jamaica may come a totalitarian state or attempted. All them things are lying and just play propaganda, you know. That's why I have to do facts checking right now. Them people are crosses. All this are shit front of me too, you know. Yeah, man.
To do so. I found that politically, the highest priority in any government is self-preservation of the politician. And if Mr. Manley's eyes, he is not capable of re-election, the first sign will be a delay of the election and possibly a cancellation of any elective process.
And who come do them thing and Andrew only so him delay election and cancel it? And who keep election and when election run 18 no more so till 1989. And a man they do it. Man they do when him for keep election, him keep election. Man call them all early. Cause if you win 82, you either call 72, you call 77, 5 years. Him call 76. Him call 80, 4 years. Him could have called 81. Him not delay nothing. Yeah.
He's campaigning now. I mean, he said there's going to be an election.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's entirely possible, but if polls begin to indicate that the electorate does not agree with the politician that's campaigning, and he's in a position of power to cancel or delay elections, then it's within the realm of possibility that...
And so who do them delay, yeah? The JLP do it. Like what Andrew do with the local government and them thing there. And now I beg. Say I go do them thing, yeah. Them do it. Not man, the man do not do it. Look
election may not be held.
It's been said to me that if you win the next election, because you have Marxists very powerful in your own party, that's the first major step towards you creating Jamaica into a totalitarian one-party state. People have said that to me.
They said that before 1972. They said it before 1976. They said it before my father won his first election in 1955. They said it before the election that he lost in 49. They said it before the election that he lost in 44. They said it before the election that he lost in 67. They will go on saying it to the end of time. It's good politics to say it. It's a lie.
Has it ever occurred to you?
No, it has never occurred to me. It's just not relevant to the Jamaican situation.
You have Marxists in your own party. Say you left the political scene. Your party would then be firmly in the hands of committed Marxists.
No, this is a, you know, this, you said this term. I heard you say that before, and I didn't want to be rude and interrupt you. About powerful Marxists in the party. What does one mean by that? I mean, I read Marx and think Marx is one of the most important thinkers in world history. Does that make me a Marxist in the sense in which you use the term?
You have Marxists in your party who exercise enormous amounts of influence.
A lot of people who have read Marx, admire Marx, and think a lot of the Marxist analysis is relevant. But if by Marxist you mean communist, the answer is no.
And member of the Junta of Reconstruction of the People and Government of Nicaragua,
Manley's problem has been recognizing that idealism doesn't pay the rent. He's not afraid to be seen as an intimate of Marxist revolutionaries. But they don't have to fight.
People in Nicaragua, you can't call them Marxists. You know? You can't have a country where you have nuclear, call people this and call them that are terrorists. But terrorists are terrorized people. And that's the truth. See? Me not go with that neither. We no business at who. Me not go with that. That's a foolishness, garbage. But when you have who around, you know, and them spread these lies, and them continue for going and spread lies, I'm going to play something to make you hear this.
At an election, in their countries, democracies don't exist. Manley's never cared about the effects scenes like this have on American opinion. If the United States did destabilize him, then this is how he encouraged America to do it.
To me, there's just no point to the world if everybody is going to have to compromise every principle they believe in merely because some big neighbor might get vexed.
Big neighbor.
The reporter in that film was Bernard Falk of the BBC. Since his report was completed, the economic situation has begun to ease slightly, with supplies of food and other imports improved.
So you see it? With the report, it eased because it was an embargo, you know. Straight on to man. Them just lock you down. That's like good when them say, you know. And we have food for eating. Okay? I remember we have farmers that farm them time, we have the MC and things. So certain things never said so, but we have things. I even through this another I can't feel hungry still, you know. Because remember we live through it. Because we have food in the country. That's what I'm saying. If you eat where you grow, man, go where you eat. If I didn't that, we're not starve, man. We starve, we live through it. And then when you hear them say this, I play the tune and I forget some Mandela. But I hear what Bill say about Michael Manley. No, I hear what I want to say. I hear what I want to say. Because the one Andrew go and talk about Mandela this and that, you know. Him one of them too, you know. I hear what Bill say.
Mother Agapi must be credited for raising the political...
Come back again.
Michael Manley, more than anyone else since Marcus Mother Agapi, must be credited for raising the political consciousness of the Jamaican people and motivating them to political action. He was a man who refused to accept things as they were and was unapologetic in his pursuit of change. His concern for the welfare of Jamaica led him to an appreciation of the intricate international economic and political relationships and the way in which they impacted on Jamaica's fortunes. His untiring efforts to change those relationships earned him international recognition and made his an authoritative voice in important councils around the globe.
Salute you, sir. Sir Joshua. I'm going to salute him too, you know. One day. I can hear that one day where they find the fact, you know. I can hear what I say before I continue.
A story. And this is a true story.
Lie him I tell you now, but go on listening.
Today is my birthday. The 22nd of July, 1972 is the year I was born.
Then parachute him.
I'm certain that Mr. Bunting knows the significance of that year very well. That is the year Michael Manley won the elections. In February of that year, I believe. And I was born in July. My father was elated by the victory of Michael Manley. Because, like you and many other Jamaicans, he felt that the message of liberation, of political empowerment, which is described in our vernacular as the Sematization of our country, that was necessary coming out of colonialism. It was necessary to shake off the colonial mindset and to see ourselves as independent people. Michael Manley said that we will walk on our 2 feet and not on our knees. I, Andrew Michael Holness, firmly believes in that. So when I was born, my father insisted on my mother that my name should be Michael. If he had his way, things may have turned out differently. But my mother insisted that my name should be Andrew, a faithful disciple. And I am here as Andrew Michael. When I heard the furor created when I did not call my godfather's name, and a man who I respect and study his work,
you hear,
and believe still in his mission.
Believe in a mission?
I was taken aback.
And you have the Jamaica people that if they believe in a man the mission, you know about them parachute him that amount, man. Well, they have one and two evil and we know them, but we know if we deal with them, because that amount here, pure, you know, Mandela, Man in the Wilderness, Mark Golden, Gregory Isaac, Merciless, you know, Buju, you know, John Holt, you just call some, you know, Mr. Mandela already, my grandson, my granddaughter, you know, my son, me just call some great people this month. Not him, not his wife. See? You hear him? I fling him same that fling man under the bus too, you know, like I say I go do a talk about Marxists, you know. As a communist, you know. See I go, I know the man I got turned into one party and think they lie. You understand? Continue.
And I did not respond because it is not appropriate. And we should always, as a country, reserve a level of respect and dignity. Even if we are critical, we do so respectfully.
You're not critical. And then no respect. You can't respect what a man likes, man. You can't disrespect the man that set the thing. And you want to come run up and down and then you want to spread in the room and think, facts check. This is why, let me tell you why them do the tune now. Remember we are professor in the music thing, I move everybody. You know my other part of me and them thing, they know we do a lot of things, see? So when the tune come and say my father born, I play the tune with Martin Tree. And then I play Mandela. When him say my father born, because you see them people who say them want the back of Manley, them did leave, you know. So the man I say me. Like me do a tune, me say me born ya. I'm a father, my grandmother born ya. And matter, me leader born ya. Because see I got never born a Jamaica. That's why I'm saying my leader born ya. Him leader wasn't him father. He matter about him father, and that's why I'm not left here. You understand? And he give her a message to all these people who love progress. And then him start joke them with Jamal and the land lease and everything. And minimum wage and things a man they put in place. Then him come and get stand firm. Hold on. Let me get the first one. Let me play about that tune. Listen it.
My father born ya, my father born ya, my grandmother born ya, my grandmother born ya, I and I born ya, I and I born ya, my leader born ya, my leader born ya, that's why I not live ya. No, I not live ya. He gave me a message to all those people who no love progress, who no love progress. Say to juke them with land lease, say to juke them with land lease, let to juke them with the pioneer war, juke them with the pioneer. Juke them with Jamal. Juke them with Jamal. Then you juke them with free education. Juke them with free education. Equal pay for women. Equal pay for women. Juke them with the minimum wage. Juke them with the minimum wage. My leader born ya. My leader born ya. So help me God I not live ya. manners. Oh, we have them under manners.
See? So when them play that tune, yeah, them no know nothing about tune and about recording and what the tune say. Me, remember enough tune, remember me catalog big, so the whole of the man them call from Greg with them, even touch step on my label. Me not chatting with them, you know. See? So the biggest of the man them start the business, me have a long catalog, yeah? Yes, me have a huge catalog. Me have a tune when I release yet. Frankie Paul, them toots, them, me have enough sugar, me have Greg Wright, me have the whole of them. Me have the whole of them there on my label. Ninja Man, them the whole of them. Okay. All right. The man will sing the tune because you have them who fly out. You want to get rid of man there, they must say, me not left, you know. My mother born here, my father born here, you know. I'm a leader. So your man didn't born here too, you know. When you can't go and fly, yeah? I'm not left here. You understand? Yeah, man. And you had that tune come out, you know, one more Jamaican gone abroad. I man born here. And I not leave. I go America no way, sir. And them tell you why them a fly out, don't it? Eh? All right, let me play next Martin. I play next tune, but very important. When you remember the tune them too, you know, I tell you, I trade them, I play with him, man. Yeah. Remember that one, yeah? Yeah, that one, yeah. You know, I pull it up in my play. Yeah, that one, yeah. Remember that one, yeah? Remember that one, yeah? I don't want to jump in
Stand firm. We are fighting for a cause. Stand firm. Our country them trying to sabotage. Stand firm. Yeah. In slavery days, my poor brothers couldn't rest. Our pregnant mothers, they died them in nest. Stand firm. We are one family. Stand firm against our enemies. Stand firm. Yeah. Them spreading propaganda, they only want to destroy us. Their only intention is to separate us. Stand firm against colonialists. Stand firm against imperialists. Stand firm. Yeah.
So the tune was the talk. Them said, "My young no poor tune, no from man, no them good tune, you know." Why not say it, you know? It's not enough, man, it's not
We are stepping, yeah. Stepping into progress. We are stepping. So let's join our hands together. We are stepping against foreign influence. We are stepping against all violence. Marcus Garvey, he fight them for the same cause. Paul Bogle, he fight them for the same cause. Old Nanny, she fight them to the finish. Old Kojo, he ring the bell for freedom. We are stepping into progress. We are stepping. So let's join our hands together. We are stepping against foreign influence. We are stepping against all violence. We are stepping.
All right, so I'm gonna play them tune. I'm gonna play Nelson Mandela. That's why them do all them tune and I tell us, say, you know, if we stand firm against imperialists and all that kind of things, them do the tune. I remember say, you know, true, you find the kind of things that you know, say, we get infiltration from outside. And the fool thing we're going, Bob Marley come and say, oh, what a rat race. Remember that tune? He said, some a bastard. A hooligan. in the rat race. And no bring Rasta in your say, because Rasta no work for no CIA. Listen to tune good. Oh, what a rat race. When them go shoot him, we think I shoot him. Michael peaceful, him no in that. None of them thing there. But them go shoot him. Him know who shoot him. Everybody know who shoot him. So when him come back and say ambush in the night, them open fire on me now, you know, we them fighting for power. But them know not the hour. So enough artists do a lot of tune back then about them and the idiot thing. Enough man where you see the Rasta rise up in the 70s, you know. Can remember you have the chance in the 60s. You just did about, you know, say, oh, them do Rasta in the 63, you know the thing already. Yeah. You see me I say? Yes. So may I give one more of them tune and then I play the Mandela. That's why I say, you know, when you say Mandela say my third world, you know, not a third world alliance country, I fight for the country. It's great. You know, for the more talk around here, you know. You understand? I believe every man to survive and stand up on them foot, you know. I don't believe in a for them kind of running a country, you know. No. You understand? You look up them and call them boss when them supposed to be servant of the people. If you stop. Play this. One more Martin up here. Remember that this is 79. Listen to the word of the truth. When them draw the wall of the thing, that's the word of the truth. You know, don't forget that one now.
We are a tough little nation. We want to survive the economic moderation. So let us all join hands together to come out the crisis we are in. With struggle, sacrifice and discipline, we going to fight imperialism.
We want to fight
hard work and patriotism. We will forward with socialism. Tractors, spin meat, wheat and oil. Plenty things we make back while. Come to us from foreign land. Plenty of we money go to foreign hand. Every day the prices soar, and we are always paying more. Dairy products like we sugar, banana, citrus, even ginger that we sell to get some money. It never really brings us enough money. All the time they pay low prices. That's why we are in this crisis. We are a tough little nation. We going to survive the economic moderation. So let us all join us together.
Nobody follow where them are right and can them this start history. Go play a one. Tell them play a 1 and 2. They can just drop one things and play. Just Google and say one thing. Just put one things there by saying enough tune. Enough tune. I see produced by Wayne Lonesome Bone. Enough tune. How can artists? Make them go play 1 and 2. Most of the man them this start. I just me no want, you know, in that for talk yet. Cause when me talk, you know, no dog no back, you know. Cause be them I try this start the thing. I remember we was there and we still here. So them can this start not run me, you know. You understand? Me no follow them, man. No follow them. Yeah? No follow them. Them tell you one thing, but me remember me and Byron Lee was brethren, you know. Byron Lee was dead, you know. Them was enough thing we press up on place and them thing. Remember me at the winning, you know. You know, to me live in my wilderness. Them feel them can't go around me and them say what them want to say. No follow it, man. No follow it. Play this.
To come out the crisis we are in. We struggle, sacrifice and discipline. We will fight imperialism. With hard work and patriotism, we will forward with socialism. Violence, sabotage and foreign press help us to get in this mess. Yes. Men take millions and them run away. I so few money go astray. Yes. One day we gonna right that wrong. We know say socialism strong. Rain or fall, but God.
You know what I'm saying? The foreign press and all them run with them, all them about the money and the lies and everything and them run away and them, you know? Yeah. Yes, I say, yeah, man. So we know the whole of them thing, yeah. But I go to Mandela. So me just play 3 tune. I go to Mandela And when they ask Mandela some stupidness too, because you know sometimes some people ask some stupidness after them take a fee, what they want take a fee and love call it terrorists and all kind of little things. Mandela and I, you understand? When Castro tell a couple thousand soldiers down in Africa they're fighting against apartheid, against them South African we run come across and him have to mash them up and send them back down, so you know. And Mandela stand up with that too, you know. Yeah, because you have to fight, you have to fight for the people, them freedom. Apartheid, it did wrong. It was wrong. It was wrong. Terrible. What about documentation and them things? They're terrible, you know. You understand? Them things they're wrong, man. Human can be wrong, man. We could play this and watch a Mandela here. Real Mandela. Real Mandela.
Tonight, the issues and the controversy. 1,000 people have gathered at the City College of New York for a town meeting with Nelson Mandela. Mr. Mandela, you're participating in what is a very old and honorable American tradition, the town meeting. And rather than waste any time with my questions, if they don't ask you good ones, I promise I will try to.
Yeah, the man, you know. Mandela, this is my talk to, you know. The man, yeah, some July.
Those of us who share your struggle for human rights and against apartheid have been somewhat disappointed by the models of human rights that you have held up since being released in jail. You've met over the last 6 months 3 times with Yasser Arafat. Are these your models of leaders of human rights? And if so, would you want a Gaddafi or an Arafat or a Castro to be a future president of South Africa?
So you say Arafat and Castro and things like them and them are gorilla, them are monster and them thing. Oh, because somebody say that, but me not see it. Me not see it, you know. You not see that? We never see it. You understand? They can't be puppet all the time. You move the chain, but if you still be puppet, it's wrong. Them know it's wrong.
One of the mistakes which some political analysts make is to think that their enemies should be our enemies.
Yeah, man.
Our attitude towards any country is determined by the attitude of that country to our struggle.
No, you tell me now, yeah, to our struggle. So when Mandela tell us, say, me and Castro, we have a different relationship, and I like not agree with everything we say, but it's neutral, and him understand me, and we understand him and things. So you not tell me who for friend with. You see it? You hear what I'm saying? You hear what I'm saying? If this is 1990, Mandela talking in the 70s, this is 1990 year, and he come from prison, and him go make him think, and you hear what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yasser Arafat, Colonel Gaddafi, Fidel Castro support our struggle to the hilt. They do not support it only in rhetoric. They are placing resources at our disposal for us to win the struggle. That is the position.
Mr. Mandela, as I mentioned to you before the program, we also have some distinguished guests sitting behind us, one of whom, Mr. Henry Sigmund, together with 2 other Jewish leaders, came to Geneva to visit with you precisely because they were so concerned not only by the kind of thing that you just said before the break with regard to Yasser Arafat, with regard to Libya's Colonel Gaddafi, but also because of the support that you seemed at different times to give to the PLO. I would like to ask Mr. Sigmund to stand now for a moment and pose whatever question he would like directly to you. Mr. Sigmund?
I think I would be dishonest
if I did not express profound disappointment with the answer that Mr. Mandela gave to the previous question, because it suggests a certain degree of amorality.
As far as Yasser Arafat is concerned, I explained to Mr. Sigmund that we identify with the PLO because just like ourselves, they are fighting for the right of self-determination.
Mr. Mandela. We have ripped through the first part of this broadcast extraordinarily quickly. There are still a number of issues that we have to take up with Mr. Mandela, not the least of them being sanctions by the United States against South Africa. We will continue with that in the Nightline segment of this broadcast. Just a quick break now. We'll be back. And we are back once again at the City College of New York with Nelson Mandela. And Mr. Mandela, we have just heard a number of the things that you said in our hour between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock this evening. Some controversial things, not the kinds of things necessarily that a very political man says. If you were very political, you might have been more concerned about not alienating some people in this country who have it within their hands, within their power, either to continue sanctions against South Africa or to raise those sanctions, to lift them. Why were you not a little more political? Perhaps we're too accustomed to politicians in this country.
I do not understand what you mean. Perhaps if you clarify what you are referring to, I may be in a position to comment.
What I'm saying is that in this country, for example, there has been for many years a close alliance between the Jewish population and the black population in the civil rights struggle. There is likely to be a rather negative reaction to some of the things that you have said. That reaction could very well cause people to call up their congressmen, their senators, and say, go ahead, lift the sanctions. Why not? After all, President de Klerk is doing a great deal against apartheid. Only today, in fact, his number 2 man, Gerrit Viljoen, said that the government perceives itself in South Africa as being part of the anti-apartheid struggle.
Hey, me laugh because when me hear Andrew say him in the wilderness and him the prime minister, that means him the Pharaoh, you know. He might take the people and them in the wilderness. So he might take them out of the wilderness. Just wait to come more. And then give himself 200% raise. Remember them I do it, you know. Remember him say Zosa state of emergency when him lock up much 100,000 youths. You know, the people them own youth and all kind of thing. Him charge them for mask, you know. And him put up the ticket price for them, you know, with speed ticket, this, that, and all kind of things. That him, I turn up the thing for them. Him had the fear, you know. And him I put in the red tape. And I tell them to wait to come more. So me have to laugh when they must say, you know, the past government, I said, them are part of the struggle. I help Mandela with the struggle. Mandela laugh. Yeah, that's coming like when Andrew attacks, say, you know, this are the come over and attack about man in the wilderness. Lord, the wilderness, man, him a fear, man. Yeah, man.
As far as the Jewish question to begin with, I have had discussions at my own initiative with prominent Jewish leaders to straighten out this affair. Amongst the people I saw was Mrs. Helen Suzman, who has been an MP in our country for more than 30 years. There was Mr. Masons, who has been a judge in Lesotho, Botswana, and the old Rhodesia. There was the chief rabbi of Johannesburg. There was Professor Katz from the University of Witwatersrand, and an eminent community leader in South Africa. We discussed this question and all misunderstanding was cleared. the question of Yasser Arafat and the PLO. I have also discussed the question with the Jewish leaders in the USA and very top people like Mr. Sigmund. We reached an agreement on this question and we saw eye to eye. Now, I don't know where your concern arises. The Jewish leaders themselves are able to determine their own affairs. Nobody else is entitled to say that the Jewish leaders are going to be concerned about your stand. Because I have had the discussions with them, and those discussions will reach consensus. But there are matters, of course, in which we did not agree. But the position which we take as the ANC, I thought we were able to explain it in such a way that it removed the concern of the Jewish community.
Let's broaden it
I
out.
am still prepared to do that even in this talk. If the Jewish leader have any doubts about our stand, I am prepared to address them and to allay their concern, because they are a very important community both in South Africa and, of course, in the States. And I'm prepared to iron out any differences that might exist. But they must know what our stand is. Arafat is a comrade in arms, and we treat him as such. We have many Jews, members of the Jewish community in our struggle, and they have occupied very top positions. But that does not mean to say that the enemies of Israel are our enemies. We refuse to take that position. You can call it being political or a moral question, but for anybody who changes his principles depending on whom he is dealing, that is not a man who can lead a nation. Apparently, Mr. Coppel, you have not listened to my argument. If you have done so, then you have not been serious in examining it. I have replied to one of our friends here that I have refused to be drawn into the differences that exist between various communities inside the USA. You have not commented that I am going to offend anybody by refusing to involve myself in the internal affairs of the USA. Of the USA.
Yes, internal affairs. Yeah, man.
Why are you so keen that I should involve myself in the internal affairs of Cuba and Libya?
No.
I expect you to be consistent.
Consistent! Listen.
I don't know if I have paralyzed you.
No.
Stop him, Mandela. We don't know if because let me tell you something. You expect them to be consistent. Yeah? If Andrew, I'm talk this all the time. Him come and say all well-thinking Jamaican raise a voice in unison against the high level of crime and against the government in not doing enough to control the crime. And him know why you raise a voice against him. You have to be consistent. If you say you can make them sleep with them window and door open, be consistent. If you say you do something, don't come and tell a lie, but you tell a lie, we're going to do facts check. We're going to hold you to account. We don't go around. See? Them not consistent. See, a matter of fact, then we come and say something today, and next one say something later, and by tomorrow you hear something else. They are not. You understand? So bear that them go on with. So, you know, truth comes straight. Like coming out kind of little thing. So them always change up some position and thing for, you know, run go across. Let me show you something right now. Let me take off Mandela off a screen. Look on this. You can see this sign of the paper. Observer. History. We asking you to vote for us because we have brought down the national debt. We asking you to vote for us because we have plans. We asking you for vote for us because plans, you know, we have plans. Yeah? Up to a madman have plan. If him a plan for even eat piece of dead dog, him have plan too. Big mama have plan to go hunt anaconda. Little mama too, hunt anaconda. Yeah. Queenie have plan. Maybe go up to New Kingston later, drop off some people or do something. Because we have plans. Vote for us. Them are beg now for vote for them. And that's how this go. See? Look here. Look here. Get it back in focus. Yeah? Because them have plans, eh? We ask you to vote for us because we have paved more roads. But we are them paved the road than any other government in history. Full garbage again of this country. No go say no. We ask you to vote for us because let's see where they cut off here, so. We have built more classrooms. What did you school them? What them name? We build more classrooms than any other government in this. This a crap. We build more classroom. If you build more classroom, you want people vote for you. No, ask them to vote for you because when you run more teacher, we will not pay. Just from January to the last part of August, last year January till 2,400 add teacher. 2,000 add bolt. Ask them for vote for because the police them with expertise where them are leaving at jobs. So now some request some youth who train where people kill them father, them mix up, so them want to in police for the revenge killing. And them don't know what them are do. Yeah? Yeah? Ask them for vote for because the nurse them are leaving a job too. Hundreds of thousands of them are leave. You see? Ask them for vote for because private sector and public sector now get good pay. And they work another day. Ask them for vote for because we don't charge your car seat and we charge your mask. Ask them for vote for because they don't come in with Zozo and state of emergency, but see them just things to and mash up people place there and lock up the ghetto youth them. Them can't, matter of fact. Ask them for vote for because them can't go to them beaches. Don't talk about no blueprint. I want to build more. I want to build no more. Not build no road by the way. Those are blueprints. We don't have the money, we don't have the whole thing. You can't vibrate 2,000 where is the leg. Where you not build. You can't have the road down there so don't approach the same thing, but the money and everything they did there. So you just come in a government and finish up something. As a government, because you're not supposed to stop it. You not build it. The money, everything they layout and everything got you already. I want to be truthful to yourself. Which one of the road? Me not what the new road them where you build. But them there. Eh? Not because project and them thing that with the dip on table same way. Blueprint them there. What you say? You build more roads. Most of the people them not travel so far neither because them can't find bus fare. Me say the advisor go run a talk about them and make sure people get light. They might try use money now and buy a vote. It don't make no sense, people. That don't make no sense. So when you say, oh, me have light, but you have light now, you don't have the work, you can't pay it. So when the light come now, you have to go cast it and police have to come and pop down wire. How that go? When you can't pay for water. They make nobody treat you, so they might try sodomize on a vote, you know. Tell them say you no work, so you know. Tell them go away, man. Tell them say una ain't no big mama around here and little mama. Move! Out of order, very out of order. Them all a big vote. A big vote! I'm gonna tell you something. If you have a government and them are do good, if them have a government are good, you don't have to come and ask nobody nothing at all. Me just say somebody same turn it up and turn it off. You must not beg so no and desperate. And if I'm not tying either, remember you know, you can do a poll where a snapshot in time where we do something where we have more than the poll every day. much sure we do just to pan the views. I remember when people are watching me, it's like people still not them living room. Them nobody watch them TV and them news and them things. So enough people in a bar, in a this, in a that, in a them home all about to watch me. But ask PSO Jeff for vote for no. Because a handful of them can't move. The 21% that swing. When I remember tell you this is the factual thing. If you have 21%, that means 79% never vote for you. You understand? And them now get up to come vote for you. I know that the 21 that shrink. So no bother upon do all kind of little things. But I know about the 6. We say happy about this when I chuck. We say we not try hide the 800 million home. We say you try hide everything. The man them rich. We want to get to the bottom of this. We want to get to SSL. We want to get to the one of the thing them we you do. You can't tell people about road and water. Not tell people about that. Nobody. Yo, you can't put on no clocks. That no work, boy. Me can show you something. It take them 2.5 months. Them build some new housing project. And if me show you at the school, if me show the pile like a hill with them clearing less than 2.5 months and the amount of houses, me them houses sell for like $1.1 million. The amount of house them put up, bill in space of 2.5 months, and the road and the new road where them put to the school and everything and move that one day and everything with them clear, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Maybe I have a video to show you. 2.5 months. We need to take like 50 years to do it. 50 or more. Then unless I serve like Sir Mandela when other people do it. But we not do nothing where, you know, not right. You know, want to build some little box on it. Come like I have a video and show everything I joke. No, I make a joke. Unbelievable. You understand? When them line out and them work, I remember for them thing, everything have connected. So I have to write, this I have to write. I remember whole country, you know, say things, everything have to dig. When you see them move things, and when you look on the place, you won't believe them, it show you 2.5 months before they build some new thing, and maybe show you the road and show you the thing. It's unbelievable. You see them repair a piece of road belongs to Zoom, and by the weekend, when you see them dig up and fix, it's unbelievable. You know, and like, I'm going to take how much years to do one because Center Mass thing and dig up and do one bag of foolishness. Well, we have the road already, just to fix it. I was like, well, right now, the part I can do this. You say you have the A-class road. Your wife will build luxury apartments for 800 million. And you come and say you do one market, the cocoa thing, for $1 billion. And you go everywhere no one promise and talk one bag of thing when you never even read out the budget. I'm a tough for people. You hear to read out the budget and them not budget because them allocated money for all kind of things already. And them make some supplementary budget. I can't artist them, you know, because them feel and everybody understand it. See? Them feel say, hey, them come from ghetto, man, and once I get them come from, man, even Ratty come from ghetto and Maria to, man, herb them, man. You know, so we can't tell them anything and we don't have a question. We don't brain, we don't have pea brain, we don't have things straight a backside. Me and one, boy, I'm not telling you, no for one, you say, if you come by here, I have to ease up, you know, because I go hard for one, you know, mash up, you know. Yeah, man, because you can't really face me. And get me in my ups mode, and you can't face me because I do everything out of them, you know. You understand? And you don't look like rubbish. Believe it or not. Yeah, man. Yeah? Yeah, man. So, no, we tell them the truth. We tell them the truth. I'll be arms out some talk. They might tell people for vote. They might beg you, don't make PMP put them on. So it go. Nobody not listening. Andrew, remember you had the latest thing. Remember you hurt people, you know. You hurt them. You hurt the nation. So you think you can just, no, man, you're damaged goods. You can't come back, you know. You never come, just take it from me. From here, let me tell you that. You never come back, brother. You are damaged goods. You know, make no sense. You damage more than Siago and the damage. Tell me, I tell you that. Tough tongue, you damaged too. And you're better than him right now. You're not better standing, but you're damaged too. Him damaged bad. See? He never come back, man. He have baggage now pan him party. He don't even know that. Baggage. And when you hear Dark Pa, father-in-law run out. Notorious Dark Pa. Yes. When you hear film father-in-law run out and say, the best this. You know, there's something wrong with him too. Something wrong with him. I must something, man, I don't know. He must say hide and knock something or do something. I don't know. Eh? Me know, but I don't know. See? But something wrong with him, man. You understand? Because them just like run out and chat pure foolishness. No make no sense. See? Yeah, man, it no make no sense. But think I'm out talking, think people are idiot. Man, they say if first in study. See? The whole of this we just show. We just show you how real leaders stand up. And not care who push them around. Because this is me, you know. When the business are who have to talk the truth. You know, speak truth and speak it ever. Yes, Sir Mandela, when him alter the balance, hear this. Hear this.
I have altered the balance of power in Jamaica in favor of the black and the poor. And I have no apologies to history. You walk with a pride today you never had before because of my work, and nothing will turn that back in Jamaica.
Can you imagine a man like this and tell the same alter the balance? Not for him. Ask on yourself if him have a big house on the hill, big too much space, so much big wall, and how much money him dead left, how much money him thief if he miss 1 cent. I'm telling you, I can't say nothing. If him run down anything, how much factory him open, how much thing him have, how much different vehicle, how much this. Just alter the balance in favor of the black and the poor. Eh? We never have to do. Him could have just please them.
Hear me! I have altered the balance of power in Jamaica in favor of the black and the poor. And I have no apologies to history. You walk with a pride today you never had before because of my work, and nothing will turn that back in Jamaican history. Nothing will turn it back. Nothing.
The man say nothing. Andrew needs to try to turn it back. You understand? Yeah, man, they might try to turn it back. Nothing. Man, alter the balance. And this is how him talk. See that? This is the man, him stand up. You not stand up, so you're dash of Venezuela and that's what.
Him never rap fight style, Uncle Sam.
Why are we taking this risk to anger the United States of America? And the answer is this: we are not angering the United States of America. They are angering themselves. They are not going to tell me what relationship I have with Fidel Castro. We have that friendship with Cuba as part of a world alliance of third world nations that are fighting for justice for poor people in the world. And I tell you as the party leader, as long as this party is in power, we intend to walk through the world on our feet and not on our knees.
Hear that? Third world alliance, so they have fight, they have to fight for your cause, man. Third world. Group of third world countries where you have to fight for your rights. I'm believing in that. So they believe in that. They believe in that. I don't believe in about your big and might and them things. They take every man for your man, you know. Because when a man dead, him now nothing, you know. The man them were dead and now no king. You can't tell me about no king and no queen and them things. You just imagine and say, hey, was a king and queen, but remember you are eat, you attack, you move, you walk, you them now do that. You have life, them now have none. You live better than them right now. You understand? Them gone back to the dust. The lowest of the low that, you know, gone back. Saying? People know all these things. So a man better than a man now. So through money it make you, and you step in a people's shoulder and thing when you're supposed to serve. Me not believe in it. It's wrong. You boy up the people, them you want to kill off the youth, them when you look stiffer penalties, when we have everything the judge them all right. Only thing them staying at that for 7 years, 7.5, then the 8 years and do is right. Stiffer laws to get rid of your picnic, phone or picnic. And uno. Not them, you know. Because I know the stiffer law, not even one of them get hold on it, not even one. You know, and it hurt me if it's a country when and the corrupted members, not for the members, majority of the members, not for the members in the PSOJ, them are jockeys, them are criminal, and not even one of them go to prison. See the court port there, not even one go to prison. Them have $12 billion. That's not poor man nothing. Don't have not even one get old and go to prison. And at the same kind of duffel bag me I look on it, because the same kind of connection that. The amount of coke. Hey, I be a history in Jamaica, you know. The amount of quadruple murder, triple murder, double murder, something like one SSL, everything. When does sweep them under the carpet? Like him just put some people, mash up people, please. And man, I say, you are the best. And you ask him when if him ever walking in them man's shoes. That for sure say, dark power, dangerous dark power, criminal dark power, and father-in-law. Him full of shit. Him shouldn't even know the house attack say him a president. Goddamn shame, man. Oh, you for be a president, man. Eh? Adua. We don't know if anything come out of the house and leak back to them when he was alive or something, or to the crew. We don't know. Seem like you have a national security minister. They look for him each up with gang and all kind of things. And money laundering and trafficking and all kind of things. Then WikiLeaks, not my word. I'm not saying nothing. They just repeat it because we see the whole of we see it. Yeah, of it. But you are one. National Security Minister look on certain thing we're not supposed to look on. It's unbelievable. I don't understand how people them to rise up. Not even PSOJ. But when you have a PMP government in power, every minute they run up, like the one, Mrs. Siaga, the one that me have to run there the last time. I don't hear him silent and all. I don't care what them come out and say for name the 6, you know. Him is a punk. If you start boycott him in the people. You say if you start boycott them man are nothing. Them is just a bungle of shit. Big Lord. Stop by from them, because if them they put some belt and put some factories in there and put the farmers them to work, we're good. You can't be consumer, but them not spend back the money with you. Them rather take the money by the US and send it go to Malaysia in Asia and them place there. Asia. All over so Sri Lanka and them place the benefit off of them. You don't go just consume with them again. And remember, them people them no wipe nothing, you know, something. You ever see when some people are cook up, some people come over there and them have a bag of thing in front of them and them just put them on. Them don't wash on, you know. Them just put them and fling in that and fling and wipe off and fling, so especially the Indian them. Over there them are thinking about coconut milk and all kind of thing. You never know where you get. Eh? Man, them a walk a big vote now. And them a rent thing. The people no with that. Anybody, you know, say the vote. But anybody want you to come and meet, you know, I won't have the angle. So them get desperate. 500,000 for one of your foot for lift up. The other one, 750. Take back on the mass money from them and them thing. Don't do it. And remember, you know, vote for them neither, you know. Yeah. Them want you to come and sit down and listen to them foolishness. And for ring the bell, that's the next $1 million, man. Remember, if it's not going on, you know, it's there already, you know. Make them crap and keep them going anything. Yeah, man. And if you go to prison, go to prison. See? When you don't have them now, you have the cat on the bell, the cat, them go on a bell and them a pat a cat. Bell them. Bell the cat. Straight up. You understand? First in study. So man, they say first in study, keep it real around here. Me there, you know. So I'm showing about the tune them. So when them say my father born here, and my grandfather born here, I say I and I born here. He matter about himself. Then he say my leader. Him leader. Different from him father and him mother and him granny and himself. Him leader born here. Mark Golin born here. And then Mark Golin father, what him do, you put them together and them none of them no do the greatness to the Jamaican population and public what that man do. Him family do. No. And them have no integrity. And by the way, time to verse since they have no more authority to talk to somebody about a dark father-in-law. Go man. Go to man. There, you know. Later, you know. I'm out, yeah? Bless up. Cool.